Hi, welcome back to the channel, everyone. I am here with real estate broker Matthew Defede. Matthew is the owner and broker of Realty Elite Homes, and he opened up in 2014 and works out of Nutley, New Jersey. Welcome to the channel, Matthew. How are you today?
Good. Thank you for having me. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm having you up here because a lot of it is that a lot of people my age don't know how to buy a house, and we live in crazy times with this real estate market. So I wanted to get an expert's opinion on what's really going on in the market, and you are that person for me.
Yeah. Where are you located, by the way?
I'm coming out of Haledon, New Jersey.
Oh, you're not that far from me.
No.
Right? I know exactly where you are. So for us, I'm going to try and answer this question the best I can, but you have to understand that the market is fragmented. So if you're looking at where we are up in northern New Jersey, we're considered, and if you look at say western New Jersey or parts of southern New Jersey, you're going to get a different answer to that question. Let's repeat that question again.
What's going on in the New Jersey real estate market?
Okay. So, as a whole, we have to look at it two different ways. You have to look at it at a macro level, New Jersey, and a micro level, different counties in different parts of New Jersey, different towns. Okay. So, while, say, in Nutley, New Jersey, home prices may be steadily rising and inventory is low, there may be parts of New Jersey, say, like Vineland, New Jersey, which is down by Atlantic City, where home prices are declining and there's too much on the market. It all depends on what part of the state you're in. Um, I think the one thing that has been in the news a lot lately, if you're interested about real estate, is you have been listening and hearing that interest rates are rising, right? And that is something that impacts the whole market on a macro level across the nation. Um, it's been interesting the last 2 years. I feel since 2008, things have become more fragmented. Since the great mortgage crisis that we had in '08, things kind of changed. And then from 2008 to about 2012, nobody really talked much about real estate. And then in 2012, 2013, it started to become a little popular again. But people were still, buyers still had the ability to negotiate a good deal for themselves. Um, the average home buyer is probably about, I would say, around 30, early 30s to mid 40s. That's the average home buyer. Average home seller is probably, in their 60s and 70s because they're moving around. But and another thing happened after 2008, 2012, 15. If you fast forward to 2020, what was the big thing that happened in 2020?
COVID.
Pandemic, right? Pandemic. So initially, the pandemic kind of put a pause on real estate for about 2 weeks. We were told we couldn't sell homes or anything else like that. We had to wait, and then the floodgates opened up. And for the last 2 years, I call it the COVID market. We seen people that were coming from more highly congested areas like the Brooklyn, Bronx, Queens, Hoboken, Jersey City. They wanted to move out to the suburbs, where before that, everybody was going the opposite way. And it caused this demand buildup and it caused prices to accelerate quickly. So 2020, 2021, we saw prices upwards of 20% year over year. So a 40% gain in 2 years. So if you owned a home in 2019 and you bought it for $100,000, even numbers, 2021, you're looking at a home that's worth $140,000, and so on and so on and so on. So that was the COVID push. Now things are starting to calm down a bit. And also, don't forget, rates were at 2%, 3%. So that also gave buyers the incentive to go out there and buy something. And just a little cliff note here. Rates were never that low before. The average rate over the past 35 years has been like 8.5%, 9%, if you average it all out. So rates still aren't really that high, but you got new people that are going into the market, younger people that never experienced 12%, 17%, 20% interest rates like I did when I bought my first property was 17%, right? We do that today, we'll kill the economy. So we're looking at, to go back to answer your question, we're looking at a market where, depending on where you are in New Jersey, it's either a seller's market, a buyer's market, or an even market. Where we are, it's still slanted towards a seller's market. Still towards a seller's market. But that doesn't mean that sellers needn't be a little flexible on their asking price, on their negotiations, and everything else. And I'll take you to a normal process and how it works so you understand. That also means with a higher rate, we have less of a buyer pool. So where we were getting 20, 30 offers on a property before, now we're getting 3, 5, maybe 6 offers. Where we were getting offers of, 50,000 over the ask price, 100,000 over the ask price. The one I saw that was most incredible was 900,000 over the ask price. Now maybe they're going 10,000 or 15,000 or at ask. So you could say the market is cooling. I like to say it's normalizing. We're basically back where we're going back to where we were in 2019, 2018, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's going. So our area in Northern New Jersey, the market's still healthy. We still got another quarter to go through. We got to the end of the year. Interest rates are at 7% last I checked. I think they're going to be upwards of over 9%, maybe first quarter of next year. And that's going to take more buyers out of the market. But there's still buyer demand. But the buyer pool is shrinking. So I don't know if that really answers your question, but we're in a normalizing market. Not in a downward trend though, but a normalizing market. They're still expecting appreciation to be 6 to 7% next year.
Okay. All right. So let's start off right now, the housing market as it is. First time home buyers, what are some things they need to keep in mind in buying a home now?
Okay. Save up as much money as you can. Try to go with a conventional mortgage with 20% down. You can buy a home with 3.5% down. It's called FHA, but then you're going to pay what they call private mortgage insurance, PMI, and it could cost you an extra couple $100 a month.
Okay. So can you explain a little more what FHA means?
FHA is a program through the Federal Housing Authority. It's for first-time home buyers. It's to incentivize home ownership, and you're able to put down a lower amount of money, like 3.5%, rather than 20%.
All right, thank you. And then the PMI, you end up costing you $100 more than what you would pay if you did the 20%.
Could be several $100s more.
Several hundred, okay.
Yeah, depending on the size of the loan. You could use an FHA, I believe, up to $800,000 or $900,000. So it goes by the percentage of the loan. So if it's 1% or whatever, it could be on a $900,000 purchase. You could be looking at $600 a month on PMI. That's additional. You don't get that money back. It doesn't go towards your principal either. That's the caveat to that.
Okay, you just answered my next question. We live in New Jersey. It's closer to New York. We typically run on the higher side of things. What can buyers do to get the most out of a house with their money?
Get the most out of their house. Let me see. Let me try and answer that one.
Because I've looked on Zillow and I've seen houses, $400,000 for 2 bedrooms and one bathroom. That doesn't feel like you're getting a lot back out of your money.
That's a good question. I mean, right now, we see a lot of homes. Number one, work with an agent that knows the market. That's another thing. You really need to focus on. I guess the best advice I can give to a new home buyer is you're never going to get 100% of what you want. Never. So be happy if you get 90%. Okay. You're never going to get 100%. If you're looking for 100%, you're never going to buy a home. The other thing is we're going into this market where I call it a need market, not a want market. The last couple of years, we've been in a want market. I want, instead of I need. Like if you're looking for a need, like, hey, I need an extra bedroom, I'm having a baby. Hey, I need a home, I'm getting married. Hey, I need an extra room, I have an elderly parent coming to live with me. Or, hey, I don't need this, big home, I want a smaller home or something like that. Those are all, need-based buyers are coming back into the market. And where it was before, it was a want, where somebody wanted because the money was flowing rather easily. Now we're going into a different economy. We're looking at a more normalizing real estate market. I'm already seeing parts of the country, again, macro level, where homes have shot up like crazy, like in Ohio and Austin, Texas, and parts of Florida, where the home prices shot up, and now they're starting to fall rather quickly. We went up, but we didn't. We know. I don't think we're in for a crash. I think there's too much demand out there, even with the rates going higher. And there's a lot of precautions that the government put into place after 2008. There's not a lot of risky loans out there like there was before. If you've ever tried to get a mortgage, it's rather hard. It's not easy. And what a new home buyer could do is get all that put out there first. Like get their down payment, talk to a lender, figure out what they can afford, figure out where they want to be, figure out some areas where they want to be, figure out what their payment's going to be, how comfortable they're going to be with it, go through the whole underwriting process and get your loan all together first. See, a lot of times what happens is realtors will work with a buyer, gets a pre-approval letter, but didn't go through the underwriting process yet. So they really don't know if they're going to get their mortgage or loan. And what winds up happening, those contracts usually falling apart and everybody gets upset and the buyers are stuck without a home and the sellers are stuck without selling a home. So my advice to new buyers is get all the mortgage and the financial stuff straightened out first. If you have some credit issues, get your credit straightened out first. Don't make any large purchases. Don't buy any cars. Don't buy any, don't acquire tons of credit card debt or anything like that. That's some of the things that a new home buyer could do.
So that was a lot in that question. What is the best credit score or a good range of a credit score someone should have before buying a first time home?
I think with FHA, you can go as low as 620, if I'm not mistaken. But the higher the score, the better. 800 credit score. Yeah. 800 is a good credit score, 750.
Now, you talked about underwriting process. What is that process? What does that mean, really?
The underwriting process, when people are applying for a mortgage, they actually have a person called an underwriter that goes and verify all the facts and figures that you've given them. So they're going to call your job. They're going to look at your debt to ratio income. They're going to look at your bills. They're basically, it's like a financial analysis of your household, if you could really afford this mortgage or not.
Okay, and then to wrap it all up, you said you're buying home early 30s, mid 40s. At that time, you're starting to come out of your debt from student loans. You don't want to get into another bad loan. What are some bad loans to stay away from? That's going around.
Well, back before 2008, there were a lot of these products out there where they would qualify you with a teaser rate, they called it, where your rate would be X% for 3 months, then it would jump to the real rate. And they were qualifying people on the lower rate, and that's how people got in trouble. They were doing these loans where they were called stated loans. Like you would just call me up and I'd say, "Hey, Breanna, what's up?" And you said, "Hey, I make $500,000 a year." Okay, great, let's get you a loan. That's how easy it was. Those loans are gone. The products, there's still some stated products that have made a comeback, but they're a lot more stringent on their terms. Like self-employed could use a stated loan, but they have to prove or show their bank statements showing that they have that income. Years ago, you didn't have to do that. Adjustable rates are making a comeback. I wouldn't say they're bad because some are 5 and 10 year loans. If you're going to be only living in a house for 5 years or 10 years, why not take the lower rate on one of those adjustable mortgages? The problem is, if you're going to say you get a 10-year loan and it's interest is 5.5%, you're like, I could deal with that rather than 7, but it's 5.5% for 10 years only. So you have two choices: either to move before that 10-year period's up, or refi into a 30-year fixed loan. See?
Now, is there such things as a fixed loans where this is the more I'm signing on as this is going to be a mortgage, and so X amount of years I live in this house? Is there such thing as that?
What
That
do you
it,
mean?
the mortgage never goes up? Like with these loans, the mortgage goes up, and then they balloon. Is there something where I can get a loan where my mortgage will always be this amount?
Interest only loans, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah, there used to be. I don't think there are anymore. I don't know if I don't think there are any interest only loans anymore. And those were popular also. Those were dangerous because you're never chipping down at the principal. You know, you're only paying interest. That's it. Uh, People that were flipping homes have used products like that. But if you're, this is going to be your home for a certain amount of years, you're going to raise your family. The most stable product to be involved with is, the 30-year fixed. And 30-year fixed could be FHA or conventional. And they also have 10% down conventional loans too. But I'm not sure. Some you get hit with PMI, some you don't. All depends.
Right. Currently, we see a lot of people. We just talked about this, that people are leaving from New York and coming into the suburbs.
Hmm.
How much of an effect is this really having on New Jerseyans wanting to buy a house, but they can't compete with those New Yorkers?
Well, I think the we got a large majority of New York City buyers in the last couple of years here, and I think people think that New York City home buyers are going to overpay for homes in New Jersey, and they're a little bit more savvy than that. They may have more of a means to buy the home if they live in Manhattan and work in Manhattan, but it really doesn't affect the market. Um, you may have a New York buyer that may want to pay a little bit more and may have the means to do it, but they have this thing called an appraisal when somebody buys a home, and if the person wants to pay over the appraised value for the home, that's up to them. I've come across that, and I've had clients do it. But as far as affecting it, I don't think it's affecting it in a negative way. I don't think it's affecting it in a negative way. I mean, it's a free market. You know, how it does affect the people in northern New Jersey. What they're doing is they're reaping the benefits of the higher prices, and they're moving to more different areas in New Jersey. Some are moving down the shore to retire, some are moving to retirement villages, some are downsizing. So it kind of benefited the market. We've had prices pop up over $1 million plus over here now, which we never had before. So yeah,
But who did it benefit, the buyers or the sellers? Because it seems like the seller, this is a very much a seller market from the outside.
benefited the sellers. Yeah, I would say it benefited the sellers. Benefited the sellers. Yep, absolutely.
What is your advice to those buyers who just, like before, they just can't compete right now? Do we just stay put in trying to buy a house, or do we just keep trying?
I would say keep trying. I would say keep trying because you might come across that deal, that person that it just works for them. And you may have a savvy agent that could work out terms for you. Because you got to remember there's two parts to a contract, price and terms. Not always price that wins it. Not always the higher price. But terms mean a lot.
Okay. Um, how important is the neighborhood you buy your house in?
Very, very. You can always change the house, you can't change the neighborhood. That's why you'll have like areas like look at Wyckoff and Franklin Lakes. That's up towards your way. That's
Mhm.
why their median price point is 600,000, and a town like Nutley, our median price. Well, actually, it may be higher than that now, but our median price point is like 500,000, and Wyckoff's price point is a little over $600,000. That's median home. Like $600,000, you got to buy a tear down because people want to be in that school system, that area, that part of Bergen County, because it's more affluent. So it's very important. I mean, I have homes on the south side of Newark that are selling for $150,000, but if I moved them to Upper Montclair, they'd be worth probably $1 million. So area is very important. You could always change the area. You could always change the home. You can't change the area. That's the thing.
Okay, we see cities. You can buy a home in 2022 right now. We start to see the area change. Do we necessarily need to move out, or should we say, what are those indicators? Maybe I should stay in this market, or I need to get out now.
Well, that's a tough one. I mean, an area doesn't change overnight. It takes time, incrementally. It happens slowly that you don't even realize it anymore. You know, so it all depends. I mean, if they're going to build a nuclear power plant next to you, then yeah, it's time to get out. If they're going to put a junkyard in your backyard, yeah, it's time to get out. But it takes a long time for an area to transition, either up or down. Look at Asbury Park. Nobody wanted to buy there for years. You couldn't buy. It was you could. Nobody wanted to buy the dirt. Now look at it. It's expensive. You had groups of people that came in, took it, fixed up the buildings and everything. Now it's expensive. You know,
Mhm.
areas go through cycles. Different areas go through cycles, but it takes a long time for an area to transition. It doesn't happen overnight. It seems like it happens overnight, but it doesn't happen overnight.
All right. Now, this is a question I really want to ask because how important is it to trust to have an experienced real estate? Because you look on Instagram, you see so many people. I'm a real estate agent. I work a lot in finance. How is important is to have a real estate agent that has 10, 15 years in experience, or that doesn't matter?
Uh, well, it does matter. And I come across this all the time because I deal with agents that have more experience than me, less experience than me. Um, I would say that it's very important to have somebody that's knowledgeable about number one, the process, and then the area. Most important is the process. You could always learn about the area, but you should know the process. Like, from offer to contract to attorney review to under contract to home inspections to appraisals, right? To closing, walkthrough, finish, done. And you got to negotiate all the way along. So, it starts when you make the offer and get it accepted. But then that communication back and forth, because the biggest complaint about realtors is their communication's terrible and they have no follow up and you can't reach them. Try and call a bunch of realtors. I doubt they pick up their phone. A lot of them don't pick up their phone. So it's very important. Experience is important. That doesn't mean you can't have one that's 1 or 2 years into the business that doesn't have the experience yet, but or won't do a good job. But experience does count because you know how to handle things. You've been through it before.
All right. According to Redfine, the median sales for New Jersey home right now is 464,000, close to $500,000. Is that number ever going to go down, or if it's already here, it's only going to go up from here?
Well, Redfin, they're usually pretty good with their data. Like the median price home they're talking about, they're probably right because I know the median price home in Nutley is about 5 and change. Is it ever going to go up or down? Well, if you look at a 100-year span and you stretch it out and average it out, real estate has gone up 3% every year and never down. But we've had those pockets where it went up 10, 15, 20%. And then maybe the next 2 years it went down 5, 6, 7, 8%. It goes in cycles. Now we're just entering another cycle. That's all this is another cycle. The only difference between this cycle and the last cycle, the last two cycles were the advent of all the media around it. This cycle, we have all kinds of media, TV, radio, social media. That's the difference. So it's more prominent. It's more out there. Like what we're doing right now, this wasn't around in 2008. We
No.
wouldn't be doing this interview in 2008, right?
Right.
So things change. So we're able to get information out there a lot quicker. And it depends. Some people aren't even paying attention to real estate or the interest rates. They don't care, but that's my business and that's what I do. But as far as what the analysts say, they're still seeing appreciation in homes over next year. But again, I just did a video on this. I'm editing it as we were talking. Sometimes analysts are wrong. Sometimes predictions don't work.
All right. Now I'm going to personalize this more to me. I'm in my early 20s now, and I always hear real estate is king. You have to get real estate. Don't rent. Real estate, real estate. What should I do now at my early 20s to buy a house 29 at 30? What are the financial things I need to be doing now?
Save money. Save money. Come up with a plan. Save money. Buy a two-family first,
Why buy a two family?
because you could rent upstairs or downstairs and live in one unit, stay there for a couple of years, accrue appreciation, then rent out the floor you're living in, turn it into a rental income, have it throw off cash flow each month, and put that towards your new mortgage on your new single family home.
I didn't think of that. That's smart.
Basically, your two family home, any overflow on it, you could put towards your mortgage on your new home, and they're paying your mortgage.
Wow.
Once it,
I'm showing you at Harrison. I just need
yes. Okay.
These are the checks.
Thank you.
You're
All right.
welcome.
I'll see you later. Sorry. So yeah, that's what I would do. That's what I did. My first property I bought was a three-family home. And then I used that money, like the Essex, whatever was over the mortgage, taxes, and insurance, say it was 500, 600 bucks, I put that towards my mortgage on my single family home. See?
Okay. Because that was a really, I guess, really good idea. I just want to know how it works out. So I buy a two family home.
Mhm.
I'm paying rent on my part of it, and then I'm charging someone rent on the upstairs. How much do I charge them how much do I charge them so that I'm covering my mortgage, but I'm also making a profit out of this?
It all depends what you pay for the home. That's important. How much you pay for it, how you finance it. If your mortgage, insurance, and taxes say is 1,800 a month, and you're living downstairs, and upstairs they're paying 1,000 a month, well, you got to kick in 800 out of your pocket, right?
Mm-hmm.
But now you know when you go to buy another home, you're going to charge 1,100 for that apartment downstairs. So now you're going to have 1,000. You're going to have $2,100 a month. You're going to have an extra $300 a month to put towards your mortgage in your new house. See what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it all depends on what you pay for it. You make your money when you buy and hold.
And then my final question is, let's do an example out there. I make a certain amount, let's say I make about $60,000, $70,000 a year.
Okay.
How much money do I need to put down on a house that's about $350,000 to $400,000 and be comfortable with it? Because a lot of times I see people buy a house and it's like, I can't buy this, I can't spend this, I can't do this, because I'm paying for everything in this house.
Well, if you're going to put down 20%, that's $80,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
$80,000. So your mortgage is going to be about $320,000. If your taxes are about $10,000 a year, I'm just kind of roughing it. You're probably looking at about a $2,500 a month payment, depending on what rates are at that time too. See, that's the variable, the rate. If I'm going off 2%, 3%, 4%, 7%, 9%, by the time you're ready to buy, the rates may have gone up and gone down 2 or 3 times. It all depends. Saving money is a key. Following the market is key, and not rushing is the key. Don't jump into something. And getting second, third opinions are not a bad idea.
All right. Thank you so much for doing this. I do have a question. It's called the bonus question. I do with all my guests. I'm from Jersey. You're from Jersey. What is one place that everyone should go see or look into, whether that be a restaurant, entertainment area, somewhere you love to go to that everyone should check out?
In New Jersey?
In New Jersey.
Oh, let me think about that. Are we talking like a restaurant?
It can be anything, a restaurant, a bar, a museum, anywhere. This is kind of just like representing Jersey and showing what Jersey has best to highlight.
Well, I think one of the things that are close to us here is the Great Falls over in Patterson. Patterson gets a bad reputation. But if you've ever been to the Great Falls, you feel like you're not in Patterson any longer.
You know what? I pass by it almost every day because Haledon and Patterson's right there, and like
Right.
every Saturday and Sunday, it's like
You never stop.
never stop, but I'm always seeing like, why are these cars here? Everyone's going to go see the falls.
Go see the falls. That's what I could say.
All
Go
right.
see the falls.
Thank you so much, Matt Defede. You can check him out on at Matt Defede on Instagram for all great tips on buying a house. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you. It was enjoyable. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Have a good night.
You too. See you next week on the channel, guys.